You're good? I know. I am Rob Blair, and I am with Amanda Rojas today. And Amanda is a real estate agent with John L. Scott Lake Taps here locally in Pierce County. And I just wanted to thank you for coming. And why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself as far as what you do?
Sure. So again, my name's Amanda Rojas. I work out of John L. Scott Lake Taps office in Bonnie Lake. I worked for the Sumner Bonnie Lake School District for 6 years prior to getting into real estate. I am married, have 3 kids, local to the area
Yeah.
for, well, since the 90s at least. So,
Yeah. Well, I wanted to bring you on today because the last couple interviews I've had with people here locally, I wanted to, in general, kind of talk about success. And the term success is can mean different things at different times to different people. And you and I started working together several months ago,
mhm,
and I'm really impressed with what not only what you're doing and what you're accomplishing, but why you're doing it. There's a passion there, and so I wanted to kind of expose that today and let people know what you're doing here locally in the community, giving back to the community
mhm,
because it's very unique. It's not something that we normally see, and we want more people to do what you're doing, not maybe exactly right, but
mhm.
whatever their passion is, find that and use that and leverage that and pour back into the community. So
Sure.
we started talking, I think it was at a training at
Mhm.
the office,
Yes.
and we were talking about building a business and finding your why and having some type of some a business that is you're coupling something that you're passionate about
Mhm,
with your daily activities in your situation as a real estate agent, right?
mhm.
You're helping people, find the home, buy the home, sell the
Right.
home, but there's more to that. And I'm part of Sumner Rotary, and I donate time to go into the high schools, and there's a program called Interact Club.
Mhm.
And this is a group of kids that will do things within the community to try to generate some funds to give back to certain groups, certain programs,
Mhm.
um, for people that are underserved.
Mhm.
And historically, that's been in Nepal doing, Kindles for students in Nepal,
Right.
medical kits, that type of thing. But the last 2 years, I've been challenging them to do something here local.
Mhm.
And so when we were talking in that meeting, I'd mentioned about doing something with senior needs,
Mhm.
specifically cap and gowns,
Mhm.
because I noticed that there was, the cost of cap and gowns is a major expense.
Definitely.
And I
I
know,
noticed that as well, having a
yeah,
senior last year.
right.
Mhm.
So when I brought that up, I looked at you and you were starting to get emotional.
Mhm.
And so obviously I was going to ask, are you okay? And I'll let you kind of explain
Sure.
what happened.
So, just to go back a little bit, working for the school district
Mhm.
and in an elementary school, I don't think the community really sees that there is a huge need throughout with kids. Whether it was seeing kids come to school every day in the same clothes every day of the week, or at Christmas time when we do like the giving tree, seeing exactly how many kids, asking for things like a toothbrush or a bath towel, those kinds of things.
Yeah.
And at that time, we would do what we could, pull as many tags as we could, take the kids shopping,
Mhm.
buy gifts for these other students. But you realize then that as somebody who didn't work for the school district before that, you didn't see that. You weren't
Mhm.
confronted with that every day. So you didn't see that there was that need. You just send your kids off to school every day, hope they have a great day, and
Mhm.
that's it. Now going forward, moving forward a little bit, last year my daughter was a senior at Sumner High School. And I'm fairly new to this career. So we're living on a budget as well.
Sure.
Seeing the cost for a senior in high school, it's a bit underwhelming at first.
Mhm.
There's a lot of expenses that come up that year. And one of them was the cap and gown. And when I was looking through the different packages for cap and gown, I noticed that the most basic package, which was a cap, a gown, your tassel,
Mhm.
and a commemorative keychain, was $99, $100 out
Yeah.
the door. And it was like, geez, for a cap and gown that she's going to wear to walk down the aisle and
Once.
graduate
Yeah.
one time. And
Yeah.
then what happens with it? So there was that. And then we got on to Christmas. And, my kids have a pretty good Christmas.
Mhm.
And it's a lot of fun for my husband and I. It's one of our favorite times of year. My daughter brought up that one of her friends woke up Christmas morning with nothing under the tree, not a single gift, not a stocking, nothing. And so they just went back to bed. That friend was coming over that evening. We had gotten a gift for them, and here's my daughter in her new clothes that she got for Christmas.
Mhm.
And when the friend gets there, they're in their just normal everyday clothes, nothing new, perfectly fine and
Sure.
happy. Not upset about it, not, just no big deal. It kind of broke my heart when I'm looking around and seeing, yeah, we're tight and we're on a budget, but
Mhm.
look at what our kids got this year. Like, come on.
Mhm.
And we had decided that we had another item that we could wrap up and give to them just so that we had another little something to give to
Yeah.
them. So they came in, exchanged gifts, and the look on their face was such gratitude and just genuine thankfulness for it and excited that it just got me thinking, like, here's a kid who is making it through high school. He's getting ready to graduate.
Mhm.
Excels at sports. There's a lot of potential. And I'm thinking back to, like, wow, and a cap and gown is $100. If you can't put a gift under the Christmas tree, that's maybe not the easiest thing to come up with.
Sure.
And knowing then also that they're not the only one. How many
Mhm.
other kids out there are maybe at this point where they're getting ready to hit this milestone of graduation that they've worked really hard for, and likely against odds, whether it's food on the table or a warm place to sleep at night, whatever it is. And that not only should they not have to worry about it, but their family should not have to worry about, where am I coming up with this $100 to get a cap and gown
Mhm.
so that they can walk at graduation. I mean, for kids, that's their first big milestone that they're hitting in their accomplishment, and something to
Yeah. It
be
should be
so proud
and
of
celebrated.
and
Yeah.
celebrated, that financial burden just shouldn't be there. It
Yeah.
shouldn't be a concern. And so I decided to create this charity, I guess is what you would call it, with the high
Mhm.
school.
Mhm.
Thanks to you for introducing me down there.
Yeah.
Um, that with every transaction through real estate that I have, whether it's a buying or selling, I would donate $250 to this charity, Rojas Graduation Guardians, down at the high school. It's about 10% of every graduating class that is in need
Yeah.
financially in some way,
Yeah.
which turns out to be about 40 kids, depending on, it varies
Right.
with each graduating class.
We were doing the class initially. I mean, I saw how passionate you were, and that was one thing that when I'm working with my referral partners, I'm passionate about certain things, and I was sharing that there as well, and
Mhm,
I saw the same passion. So it's like, just because we don't understand the need doesn't mean that it isn't there, and so we're
mhm,
we're we're peeling back, these layers and asking the questions, and that's the one thing that, even 2 years prior to when you and I first started talking about
mhm,
this, um, I had seen that. I'd seen, again, through Sumner Rotary, family that had lost everything in a fire, right? And so you don't understand. I mean, you literally said you're giving these kids toothbrushes.
right?
We were giving this family toothbrushes. I mean,
Mhm.
just basic fundamental needs
Yes.
that we take for granted.
Mhm.
I mean, half the kids probably didn't brush their teeth, let alone.
Right.
But these kids don't even have toothbrushes to do it.
Or a bath towel,
Right,
or, I mean, just the very basics that
right,
we take for granted because they're necessities.
right.
It's not a want, it's a need.
Yeah, it was not like, "Hey, I'll check." It's like, "Hey, I'm gonna help you do this."
Mhm.
And so I appreciate you, because that's obviously there's emotion behind that, and there's a passion behind that, and that's not always easy to put out there in front of people, right? I
Mhm.
mean, it's real emotion. I saw it then, I
Right.
see it now,
Right.
but I love it because that's what's driving you to do more, to help other people, not only, just like I said earlier, get into a home or
Mhm.
sell their home. I mean,
Mhm.
that's kind of what you're supposed to do. I'm supposed to be able to close a loan. It's
Right.
just, what are we doing with that
Right.
in our role? How are we able to give back and pour back,
Mhm.
into the communities and pour into people that really need us? We were down in Mexico. We're fortunate enough to hit a certain level of production to where we go down and celebrate,
Mhm.
that success. But with Movement Mortgage, we take an entire day to where we're giving back to a community down there,
Mhm.
and again, basic stuff, feminine hygiene,
Right.
food, clothing,
Mhm.
school, like backpacks and stuff. And there was 1,500 of these packets that we had put together, these bundles. And because of COVID, we couldn't go out into the community, but they were able to bring trucks and cars and Alvina, my wife, is bilingual. She can speak
Mhm.
Spanish. So we're down there and she's hearing these stories,
Right.
and it was emotional.
For
I mean,
sure.
that was for us, that was probably the our favorite thing that we did down there. I mean, we celebrated, we had fun with
Mhm.
friends, and rightfully so, but that had the biggest impact in our lives.
For sure.
And with Movement, doing that every single time we celebrate, we're also pouring back and giving back to the community, absolutely in line with what you're doing. And that's why I love it. Love is a verb,
Right.
right? You're acting in the long-term best interest of another. And
Mhm.
that's our vision, that's our motto. And we want to work and rally around people that are just like you, that have the same passion for whatever it is, as long as it's helping other people.
Yeah.
And there's a massive need for it. So I again want to celebrate that, because I look at that as success, because you do have that nonprofit set up. You have given money and will continue to give
Mhm.
money, and exposing what you're doing to the local community that may have the exact same passion or may understand that need
Mhm.
is important. It's important for you to be able to get out in front of people, because that's what you do. That's what
Right.
you're passionate about. Yeah, you're going to do an amazing job getting them into the home
Mhm.
or selling their home, but part of that you're giving right back to help these kids and these families that
Truly,
just don't.
that's the best part about when it's payday, to
Yeah,
be able to have that other check to be able to take down.
yeah,
Um, it's just it always feels good to give back.
yeah.
And I think really as a community, just the general awareness is not there right now. Um, and so I think if most people knew how great of a need there was, they would be giving back.
Mhm.
But they don't know.
Right,
Nobody knows. You don't know until it's in your face and you've seen it firsthand.
right. So last week you went down, first time.
Yes.
Yeah, first time delivered first set of checks, and
Yep.
then again this week, right?
Yep. As soon as I get the check this week. Yep.
Yeah. S
So August I had my first deals that came through. Um, I had two of them.
Okay.
So it's $250 for each transaction. So I was able to take $500 down. And then I just had a closing yesterday. So this week, once the check is cut, I'll be able to take another $250 down,
That's awesome.
which comes out to 7.5 kids because $750.
Yep.
And the need is about 40 a year, give or take.
This is something that, for the kids, that it's confidential, right? I
It's
mean,
100% confidential. They
yeah.
don't even necessarily know. For example, this friend at the end of the school year last year, as they were getting ready to graduate, about a month and a half, 2 months prior to graduation, when everybody else had their cap and gowns, they did not have a cap and gown. And so, because of Interact, because
Mhm.
Interact's bingo night
Mhm.
donated a portion of their proceeds
Yep.
to Rojas Graduation Guardians, I was able to make a phone call to the school and I said, "Hey, I know firsthand that this student does not have a cap and gown. Will you see if there's something we can do about that?" And before they knew it, they had a cap and gown. I mean, it's little things like that. Those little things fall through the cracks to where why didn't anybody else notice prior to then that they didn't have a cap and gown?
Yeah.
It just happens. So hopefully, um, having that money set aside will bring more awareness at the school too. Like, hey, we have these funds here. We need to take a look and see, is everybody set up for graduation? Do they have cap and gown? Who needs it? How much
Right.
money do we have? So we can supply that for them.
You're just the tip of the spear. I hope there's other, local business people that want to rally behind that, because that is absolutely a need. And it's unfortunately with, emerging from COVID, I'm sure there's, probably even more of a need that we just,
Right.
um, but no, I applaud you. Wanted to, obviously bring you on and share your story. And I appreciate you.
Thank you.
Again, it's probably a little awkward, answering this stuff because
Right.
of the passion behind it. But,
Yeah.
um, for people that do need, real estate,
Hmm.
needs, obviously buying and selling, Amanda's amazing. I love working with you. You work your rear off. You're great people. And so I'm blessed to be able to work with you. And again, I look at you as a friend and a business partner and, want to grow that. And we want to have everyone's needs met.
Hmm.
And it's not even just the cap and gown aspect of it. I
No.
mean, there's other things with prom, I
Yes.
mean, there's so much that people can do to help kids that need
Yes.
because they can't afford a dress, but maybe you wear the dress once.
Hmm.
So maybe they can have that donated to
Right.
where it's,
There's
again,
grad night celebrations,
right,
there's prom, there's, sports and activities that maybe ASB is having to foot the money for that they can't really afford to do that.
right,
And at the end of the day, when that happens too much, there's only so much money there, say for ASB. And so something's going to have to give.
sure,
And is that cutting programs? Is that cutting, cheer or a sport, a swimming, maybe swimming or maybe tennis, maybe not the typical ones that are bringing everybody in on a
right,
Friday night to watch football.
right,
Um, Nobody wants to see that. We all want our kids to be able to participate in everything.
hmm,
So this will allow that once we get to it, if we can meet all of the needs for cap and gown, then we can extend it to
yeah,
other needs.
yeah.
But for now, it's cap and gown because I just want those kids to feel good about celebrating themselves and not having to worry or have any concern financially to be able to walk down that aisle at graduation.
I love it.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate you and thank you again for
Thank you.
sharing your story.
Yep.
So,
Thank you.
all right, thank you.